Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, this is a deciding moment for Bitcoin because as you can see just here, the Bitcoin price is starting to trade below this upwards trending support line, but we are currently retesting this very important moving average as we speak. So in just a moment, I'll be going over this. I'll be going over my next Bitcoin price targets, a brand new pattern that is forming on the Bitcoin chart right now, and the Bitcoin funding rates, which are starting to show some scary signs. All of that and more in this video, so make sure you're watching all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And if that sounds good to you, just before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on for more videos like this one. It is completely free to click like and subscribe. It only takes a couple of seconds, but I seriously do appreciate it and it helps out the channel so much. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And as we can see here from my video yesterday, we were actually forming this symmetrical triangle pattern, and right now we are starting to actually break to the downside. Now, we haven't really seen any major confirmation. If you're actually zooming in a little bit further into the 2-hour time frame, then you could perhaps say that we did actually have one retest of this level as a potential confirmation, but this isn't really that much confirmation just yet, just a 2-hourly retest, because as you can see, the Bitcoin price is still hanging at around those levels, and also we are still holding above this important moving average, and also we haven't actually seen any major spike in volume. In fact, the volume has dropped off to the downside ever since we started to break below that support line just there. So that is actually a sign to be skeptical of the current price action, because when the volume is lower, that makes it easier to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. So sometimes on really low volume, a whale could come along and, force the Bitcoin price slightly below an area of support to make people think that we're breaking to the downside. But because we've got no volume just yet to back up this move, once again, someone that is really wealthy can come along and actually buy up Bitcoin at these cheaper prices and force the price to the upside, and that's much easier to do on that lower volume once again. So that's why I said in the intro of this video that right now this is actually a deciding moment for Bitcoin, because if we can break back above this support line just here, obviously that would be good for Bitcoin, and this will basically just turn out to be a little bit of a fake out to the downside. But if not, if we continue to get rejections along that line of resistance, and more importantly, if we break below this moving average just here, then that is actually another bearish sign if that plays out. So first of all, this line just here, this white line, is coming in at around 44.7k. That was previous support for Bitcoin multiple times, as you can see just here. And right now in the short term, it is acting as immediate resistance for Bitcoin. So if the Bitcoin price starts breaking above around 45,000 US dollars just there, then that is when we're looking a little bit better here in the short term once again. But if we continue to find resistance along that sort of level just there, then our immediate support is of course this 21-week moving average. I've been covering that moving average for quite some time on the channel because it is one of the most significant moving averages in the Bitcoin chart. So yeah, once again, this is the 21-week moving average, and it's currently coming in at around 44,000 US dollars. So if we start breaking below 44,000 with some sort of confirmation, so once again, if the volume picks up a little bit here as we're breaking that level, or if we can get a proper retest of that level to the downside, then that would also act as confirmation. And if we do start breaking below 44,000 US dollars, where's our next area of support? Well, an area that I myself will be targeting is coming in at around 42,000 US dollars, which is actually a huge range of support, ranging all the way down to 40,000. So between 40,000 and 42,000, that entire range just there, once again, is significant support for Bitcoin, because zooming all the way out to the daily time frame, as you can see just here, this exact red range just here, this price range, has actually provided huge resistance for the Bitcoin price throughout the past 2 to 3 months on the Bitcoin chart once again. And so of course, if we break above huge resistance, that then turns into huge support for Bitcoin. So in my Bitcoin strategy right now, of course, everyone's strategy is going to be different, but my Bitcoin strategy is simply to accumulate a lot of Bitcoin if we head down to those prices just there. Now, at all times, I am dollar cost averaging no matter what the price is, but if we simply head down to those lower prices, I will take that opportunity to accumulate even more Bitcoin at those cheaper prices. And any Bitcoin that I accumulate at those lower prices, I will be holding that for the longer term, as in for at least the rest of this year. But really, it's going to be many years from now that I'm actually going to be holding that Bitcoin. Now, quickly giving you guys a quick update on our oscillators just here. As you can see, we've got the RSI still trending to the downside on the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, at least, this isn't actually showing us any major signs of a trend reversal back to the upside in the short term. And then also with the MACD, we actually are getting closer towards the bottom in the MACD compared to the RSI. But that being said, we are still in in this downtrend. We haven't actually confirmed a bottom at all just yet. So just keep that in mind. It is still totally possible for the Bitcoin price to dip lower. And in fact, that actually plays into my Bitcoin strategy once again. Now, zooming all the way into the 2-hour time frame, taking a look at the even shorter term, as you can see just here, we are forming a small bullish divergence on the 2-hour time frame for Bitcoin. We've seen some lower lows in the price and then some higher lows in the RSI for Bitcoin on the 2-hour chart once again. So in the immediate short term, that's actually a good sign, because a bullish divergence basically means that the selling pressure is actually losing some momentum just in the short term. The bears are losing steam and we could be in for a little bit of a sideways consolidation, if not a slight move to the upside, once again, just in the immediate short term, talking about the next 1 to 2 days. But then yeah, on the 4-hour time frame, this is still suggesting a move to the downside potentially over the next few days, up towards 1 to 2 weeks, really is what the 4-hour time frame shows us. And then the daily time frame is also showing, you know, some bearish signs as well. And the daily time frame usually shows us the trend for at least the next 1 to 2 weeks or so. It can be longer and it can be shorter, but usually 1 to 2 weeks in advance is what I actually get out of the daily time frame most of the time. And as you can see, the RSI in the daily time frame is still in this downtrend. We haven't seen any sort of trend reversal at all, and we've actually still just had that death cross that I've covered the last 2 days on the channel. And the momentum in the Bitcoin price has shifted into bearish momentum on the daily time frame in the MACD, as you can see just here. So once again, what that basically means is it's just suggesting that we're likely to see a continued move to the downside before we eventually continue the upwards trend in the longer term. So all of this is just pointing towards buying opportunities moving forward, because once again, if you're looking on the daily time frame, just in the price alone, we are still in a major uptrend in the Bitcoin price. We are still definitely seeing higher lows and higher highs in the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame. This is simply just a short-term cool-off as expected, because of course, if you're on the channel over the past week, nearly a week ago now, right towards this exact top at around 48,000 US dollars, I was letting you guys know that it is very likely that we're going to have a short-term cool-off over the next 1 to 2 weeks. And right now that is playing out pretty well. Now, just before I jump into a brand new Bitcoin pattern and the Bitcoin funding rate, which is going to be really important to pay attention to, right here, as you can see, our team over in the World Series of Trading has hit 8 members. So thank you to everyone that has joined up to our team so far. For the new viewers on the channel that missed yesterday's video, the World Series of Trading is kind of like the Olympics for Bitcoin trading and Ethereum trading. So for anyone that now has a bit of experience in these markets, and especially for those of you that already trade, once again, this sort of competition is for you, because if you don't know what this competition is, we've got these teams set up and the total prize pool for these teams is actually 6 million US dollars. And on this page, if you actually go down a little bit lower, you can see exactly how this prize money is broken up between the top teams and the top members within those teams. There's literally millions of dollars to be won in this competition. And by the way, you'll find a link to this page in the description down below. In fact, it will be the first link in the description, and it will take you to this right here. And basically, instead of this view details button, you'll actually see a join button if you have a Bybit account. So if you simply just join the team, once again, you will get involved automatically. It costs nothing to get involved. And in fact, if you join within the next 1 day, you've got 1 day left for this extra bonus. You can actually get a free $70 when you're joining our team within the next 24 hours or so. So yeah, once again, right now we've got 8 members in our team and we actually need 10 members to actually be eligible for this event. So obviously we are really close. We only need 2 more members, which I'm sure we'll get very soon. And yeah, once again, you'll find that link in the description down below, the first link in the description. All right, now taking a look at the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame again, as you can see just here, we obviously finished forming this massive rising wedge pattern on this chart, and we did break to the downside as expected. But right now, we are currently forming a falling wedge pattern. And by the way, a falling wedge pattern for the new viewers on the channel is basically the opposite of a rising wedge pattern. So a rising wedge pattern is bearish, which means it's technically more likely to break to the downside, as we actually played out. But a falling wedge pattern is once again the opposite. So it's technically bullish. So technically speaking, it is more likely to break out to the upside. Now, it's not impossible for a bullish pattern like this to break to the downside. Once again, it's simply just more likely for it to break to the upside. In fact, roughly around 3 times out of 10, it breaks to the downside, and roughly around 7 times out of 10, it breaks to the upside. So that's why it's technically called a bullish pattern once again. And yeah, the important support level to pay attention to for this falling wedge right now in the Bitcoin 4-hour time frame is coming in at around 43,700 US dollars, and the resistance right now to pay attention to is coming in at around 44.9k approximately. So once again, around 45,000 US dollars is the level that we need to break to flip more bullish in the immediate short term. And talking about the exact price target out of this pattern, if we actually break out to the upside, the price target is the top of the wedge. So that's coming in at close to 48,000 US dollars. So if we see a confirmed break out of this resistance just here, then that price target is around a 7% gain for the Bitcoin price, which on a 10x leverage is a 70% gain, obviously. But once again, I never actually recommend leverage trading for the complete beginners out there. That is something that should be left for those of you that have more experience in these markets, for those that actually know what they're doing, because leverage trading is actually a risky strategy for the complete beginners out there. Once again, the best strategy for the complete beginners out there is simply to dollar cost average, especially while we are in a buying opportunity with a long-term perspective. Keep a long-term perspective, because so far throughout Bitcoin's entire history, if you've simply held for the longer term, you have done very, very well in investing in Bitcoin. Once again, that is just historically speaking, that is looking at all of the facts and evidence. So that's why I always say for the complete beginners out there, it's actually really important to keep a long-term mindset when it comes to Bitcoin. But yeah, even though we are forming this more bullish pattern in the immediate short term, once again, we still have these indicators here that are suggesting some further movement to the downside. So that could just be, heading further in the falling wedge just here before a break to the upside in 1 to 2 days from now. But what we also have to consider is actually the funding rates just here, because as you can see just here, they are showing a lot of red currently. So the Bitcoin funding rates just here, we've only got one exchange that's actually showing green. So all of the others are either somewhat neutral, if not bearish. And for the complete beginners out there, what this actually means is basically the more positive these funding rates are, that means the more long positions are opening up in Bitcoin on these exchanges once again. So once again, the more people that open long positions, that actually pushes these funding rates to the upside, which actually makes it more expensive to open a long position, because the more positive that these are means the more money that the long positions have to pay to the short positions to keep the long positions open. So this is simply a way to balance out the market in an extreme uptrend or an extreme downtrend. But what's really interesting is the fact that all of these rates are looking really positive, meaning a lot of people are still really bullish on the Bitcoin price, even though we are actually technically speaking in a short-term downtrend, and a lot of these other indicators are still pointing to the downside. And taking a look at what the Bitcoin whales are doing, the smart money, they are actually closing their long positions. They are taking a massive amount of profit on their long positions. In fact, over the past 4 weeks just here, about 14,400 Bitcoin worth of these long positions have been closed once again. So that works out to be well over $600 million worth of long positions that were previously in these long positions once again, that have now been closed. Once again, $600 million worth of long positions have been closed over the past 4 weeks. And this is actually providing a huge sell pressure on the Bitcoin price, because of course, when you're closing a long position, that means you are selling Bitcoin. So the fact that over $600 million worth of Bitcoin has been sold just in these long positions, just on this one exchange, which is the Bitfinex exchange, by the way. This is actually a pretty big deal. And also taking a look at the short positions right now in the immediate short term, they are starting to spike to the upside, but nothing really major is happening in the short positions. So right now, since this bottom a few days ago to where we are right now, nearly 700 Bitcoin approximately has been opened worth of short positions once again, which at the current Bitcoin price works out to be roughly around 30 million US dollars worth of short positions that have been opened within the past 3 to 4 days. So this is obviously nowhere near as significant as the long positions that have been closed. But yeah, obviously if these short positions spike to the upside, that also places a selling pressure on the Bitcoin price. So it's only when these short positions are heading to the downside, that is when there is a buying pressure, because once again, a short position is actually opposite to a long position. So when you're opening a short position, you're immediately selling Bitcoin. And then when you're closing a short position, you have to buy back into Bitcoin to close that position. And then switching back to the long positions, once again, when these long positions are opening, they are buying into Bitcoin, and when they are closing, they are selling Bitcoin. And giving you guys another quick update on my exact Bitcoin prediction that I actually made last month. I publicly announced this Bitcoin prediction on this YouTube channel around 3 to 4 weeks ago when Bitcoin was all the way down here. And as you can see here, ever since I actually made that prediction right down here, the Bitcoin price has pretty much been following this prediction almost perfectly. And right now we are actually seeing this short-term cool-off exactly as predicted. And according to this fractal, this simply suggests that the cool-off will last for a few more days before the potential bounce towards the upside. Now, once again, just because this is a fractal and this has happened before, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is guaranteed to happen in the future. So keep that in mind as well. Even though this prediction so far has been very accurate, it doesn't mean that it's going to be very accurate in the future. And by the way, I'm also keeping you guys updated on this prediction as well as other price patterns and price targets targets and Bitcoin and Ethereum trades, all of that and more over on my Twitter. So if you want to get all of these extra updates throughout the day and stay up to date at all times in these markets, definitely make sure you're checking out my Twitter. It is completely free and the link to my Twitter will be in the description down below. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future videos. Once again, I post these videos every single day here on the channel, and it only takes a couple seconds out of your day to click like and subscribe. It's completely free to do that, but if you do that, that seriously means a lot to me and it helps out the channel so much. I honestly appreciate all of the support. We're already edging closer towards 60,000 subscribers, and I can't even believe I'm saying those numbers. Seriously, thank you for all the support on the channel recently. And of course, considering the fact that right now we are in the middle of an amazing opportunity in the overall crypto markets, there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends and stay active in these markets. So by sharing these videos around with your friends, not only is that helping support this channel, that's also helping your friends to get involved in this amazing opportunity. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.